Hey guys, hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, Pensando Inglés. If you do not already know who I am, my name is Kyle. And here on my channel, I bring you real English that you can understand, okay? In order to help you with your listening, because when you can understand a language, you will eventually start to speak, okay? So here I make videos like this where I speak nice and slow, calm and clearly, in an intermediate English usually. I do have beginner videos and advanced videos too, but most of my videos are intermediate level like this. And I talk about real life topics and themes, okay? Things that you will talk about in real life conversations with native English speakers like myself. And I think it's helped a lot of people, and I love to do it. So that's the mission here on the channel. For those of you who do not already know me, click subscribe, give me a thumbs up, because guys, I make at least 3 videos a week like this to help you with your English learning goals. So today guys, I'm making a video about friendship, okay? It's an important part of life. Having people to share the good times with, to help you out in the bad times, just to talk with, to get things off your chest. To get something off your chest, guys, this is your chest. To get something off your chest means to express it, to talk about it, okay? That's a good expression in English. Maybe you're having a fight with your husband or wife. You call your friend, hey, can I talk with you? I really got to get this off my chest. That means you're upset about something and you really need to talk about it to get it off your chest. But a friend is a person who will be there for you when you're upset and you need to get something off your chest. So guys, this video is going to be like some of my original videos I used to make. I haven't made any like this in a while where I talk about my experiences with a certain topic. Guys, I used to do that all the time. My old videos always used to be mis experiencias con, okay? So in this video, I'm going to talk about my experiences with different friends in my life, okay? And this is just a conversation between friends, okay? Just like you would have with a friend who speaks English. So guys, I've always been a bit of a loner, okay? A loner is what we call somebody who is not very loud, okay? They don't talk very much. I talk a lot more now than I used to in the past, but I'm somebody who likes to be alone. I find peace by myself. I like to go for walks by myself. I like to make my videos. I like to go to the gym and exercise by myself. I go to restaurants and eat by myself, okay? Some people do not like to be alone. Me, I do like to be alone. I like to have good friends and see them and spend time with them, but I also like to be with myself. So that's the kind of person I am. I've never been somebody who has a ton of friends, okay? I prefer to have a couple of really good friends and then also have my alone time. So let's talk about some of the friendships I've had in my life, what we've done together, how the friendship was, and maybe we'll talk about the importance of friendship and things like that. So let's see. My very first friend, his name was Petey, okay? And he is my mom's best friend, her son. So we grew up together. We would always see each other when our moms came to hang out, to be together. So he and I were best friends ever since we were born up until maybe 12, 13, 14 years old. And then we kind of grew apart. But I would go stay the night at his house. We would hang out, watch movies, go play outside, little kid stuff, okay? But I haven't talked to him in years and years and years. Something really weird, guys, that happened with Petey. Years ago, my dad, before he passed away, he got a job working at a factory, And Petey also worked at this factory, and Petey and my dad became close friends. Isn't that weird? That's pretty weird, I think. So my best friend from childhood eventually became close friends with my dad. And it's strange because my dad and I did not have a relationship at that time. So it's weird. But it happened. So Petey was one of my best friends growing up. I also spent a lot of time with a cousin of mine, Mark. He and I were like brothers. We were like brothers. And at the time when Petey and I started to grow apart, I started spending my time more with my cousin Mark. I would go stay at his house every weekend pretty much. And his parents were divorced, so one weekend he would be with his mom, the next with his dad. So it was like every weekend we spent together. I would go to his dad's house one weekend, the next weekend I would go to his mom's, back and forth, because we were like brothers. We were always together. And probably from the time I was like 10, 11, 12 to the time up until I was probably like 16, we were spending pretty much every weekend together, hanging out. We would, when we were at his mom's house, she had a pool, so we would swim, play outside, do stuff like that, go on walks outside. He had a little sister, so we would hang out with her too. When we were at his dad's house was way in the country, we say. You guys would say campo. So there was like forest, like bosque, all around. So what we would do there is we would go play in the woods. We would dig holes. I don't know. Weird stuff, guys. Make fires. Try and climb up trees. And sometimes we would play video games. He had video games. I've never liked video games, guys, but he had them, so we would do that. We would watch movies a lot. And we were just there for each other, guys. So once I got to be about 17, we started to go our separate ways, you know. He started making friends in his school. I started making friends in my school, and we just slowly started spending less and less time together. And now we only talk when we see each other maybe once or twice a year at family events. You know, I would like to be closer with him because we were brothers growing up, but that's life, guys. He lives a few hours away from me in the capital of my state, Indiana, Indianapolis. So we don't get to see each other much. Who knows? Maybe one day something will bring us together and we'll be close again. You never know. So after that, when I was about 17, I met a friend named Nick, and we became pretty close. We were hanging out. Hanging out is to spend time together. We were hanging out pretty much every day after school. We would play video games, talk about girls and stuff. Nick and I would do some dumb stuff too, guys. Some stuff I'm not proud of, like we would go buy eggs, huevos. We would buy eggs, and then we would drive around and find people to throw them at. Don't judge me, guys, please. I know it was not nice. It was not nice. And just dumb stuff like that, guys. We weren't hurting anybody, but we were doing dumb and mean things, you know. Stupid things that kids do. Some funny things we did together. But anyway, I hung out with Nick probably from when I was 17 to when I was 18. We were pretty close friends. But guys, he was a negative guy. He was never trying to better himself. So we grew apart. And my senior year, the last year of high school, I joined the bowling team. Bowling. I joined the bowling team at my high school because some friends of mine told me to join because they needed an extra player. And there is where I met the best friend I ever had, whose name is Will. Okay? I still talk with Will every now and then, but we grew apart also because He has like 6 kids. You know, I have my kid. He's married. I'm married. And, you know, we grew apart, guys. So, let me tell you a little bit about the relationship I had with Will and why he was the best friend I ever had. So, we would do bowling a couple times a week. And then after that, we would just always hang out, guys. We would always be together. At that time, we were always going through some stuff. You know, he was having problems with girlfriends. My family was going through a rough time. Things with my dad and stuff. And we were just always there for each other, guys. And, you know, when something was going wrong, I always knew I could count on him. I can't tell you guys how many times I ate dinner at his house. His grandma, I call her grandma when I see her. Hey, grandma. Because, guys, she always fed me. She would give me a big plate of food. And it was just nice, guys, because things were going on with my dad at my house and stuff, you know, and things were not going so good. But I always had like a second home with Will, you know. And his family was always there for me. And he was always there for me, no matter what, guys. If I was in trouble, I would call Will and he would be there. And, you know, I would be there for him as well. So, Will and I, we knew each other ever since we were like 14. And we were friends in school and stuff, but we didn't spend a lot of time together. But in that year, my senior year, when we started bowling together, we were like inseparable, guys. And our relationship lasted from that time up until now. So we've been friends for 14, 15, 16, 17 years almost, guys. And yeah, I still consider him a friend, but we don't spend time together really. So we've done a lot of crazy things, guys. He used to have a girlfriend in Wisconsin, which is like 4 hours driving from here. And we would drive there, spend time with her. Guys, we've been on so many adventures together. We've been through so many things. He got married a couple years ago, and I was the minister, the person who said, do you, Will, take this person to be your wife? Do you take him to be your husband? I did that for Will because he wanted me to have a special place in his wedding. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, trying to think of there's a lot of things I can't tell you guys about here, about some crazy stuff I did with Will. Maybe I'll make a video on the membership page. So if you guys want to join the membership and get some exclusive content, some super deep and personal content, there's a link down below. It's $3 a month, but there's a lot of good content on there, guys. So yeah, Will and I were like brothers. You know, I would watch out for him, he would watch out for me. Will's a very kind-hearted person. I have never met somebody with a bigger heart than Will. And that can hurt him sometimes, because sometimes mean women would take advantage of him and have him bring them things and buy them things. So his grandma always used to tell me, Kyle, watch out for your brother. Don't let those girls take advantage of him. And I would say, you know, Grandma, I will. And he would watch out for me too. No matter what. No matter what I was going through, I always had my brother Will. You know, my son, Connor, calls him Uncle Will. His kids call me Uncle Kyle. And, you know, we're brothers even if we don't talk as much. So I'm very grateful. Very grateful for the relationship I had with Will. And he was my best friend up until my mid-20s, when I was probably 25, 26. I was working at this little steel factory, Fábrica de Acero, and I met a guy named Julian, and Julian was my best friend for a couple years. Julian is a police officer now. He's a really cool guy. He has tattoos all over himself, and he's a police officer, but he looks like a pandillero. He looks like a gang member, but he's actually a police officer, and he's a really good guy. He's a family man. I have not spoke with Julian in years, guys. I hope he's doing great. He has a beautiful family, and I hope he's so happy. He just had a son recently. He has 3 daughters, guys. He always wanted a son. He finally had his son like a year ago, so I'm very happy for him for that. Julian and I, we were friends in a time when I was drinking a lot. So on the weekends we would have parties and drink a bunch of beer. At his house we would have a big fire in the backyard. And it was just some super fun times, guys. And we had a really tight relationship. We were really good friends. And it started out, guys, as gym partners, okay? Going to the gym together and working out together. I don't know, you talk with people at work, so we were talking and we started talking about how we're both trying to get in better shape and go to the gym. And then one day we were getting off work at the same time and we were like, hey man, I know you're a member at my gym. Want to go work out? And that's how it started. So we would start working out. We had a common goal together. We would talk and talk and talk as we lifted weights, and then, we would work together the next day, and we became very close. I had a lot of good times hanging out with Julian, working out together. He was a good dude. I got tight with his family, and it's kind of sad that we don't hang out anymore, but that's the way life goes, guys. Our paths just went in different directions. I wish him all the best, and I'm sure if we hung out today, we'd be close again, but just the way life goes. So after Julian, I had one last friend, one last best friend. I still have a couple friends now that are awesome. We hang out every now and then, but not all the time. But let me tell you about the next person who I would spend all my time with, that best friend who's always there. Ernie. Okay, the members who have been subscribers here for a long time and have watched all my videos, you guys know about Ernie. Ernie was a brother to me as well. We met at the same place I met Julian. So Julian got a different job eventually, and then I started hanging out more with Ernie. And guys, Ernie was an incredible person who had a lot of bad traits, okay? Ernie drank a lot. Sometimes he did drugs, okay? But I knew the deeper Ernie, who he really was. And who he really was the kindest, most caring person, most giving person. If Ernie had no money, he had only $5, and I needed $5, he would give me that $5 and he would go hungry. Anytime I had to move, like if I was going to a different house to live and I had to move all my things, I would call Ernie. Ernie would be there every time. So me and Ernie would drink together a lot, but then I stopped drinking and we would go fishing together. Guys, Ernie died probably a year and a half ago now. Hace un año y medio, algo así. And I have not went fishing since. Pescando. Because that was what I did with Ernie, and it just would not feel right, guys. It would not feel right to go fishing without my brother Ernie. And guys, Ernie, even when we were not, once I quit drinking, we still were friends because we had a real bond. So, we would go fishing, we would just hang out, go get something to eat. That was something we would always do, I'd call him, hey man, you want to go get some grub? Grub is a word that we sometimes use for food. Want to get some grub? Yeah man, let's go, come get me. So I would go to his house, pick him up, and then we would go eat and just talk. He would talk about things that were bothering him, I would talk about things that were bothering me, stuff like that. But Ernie and I were friends for probably around 8 years before he died. So that was a tough one, guys. When he died, it was difficult for me because we had been so close. And I don't think anybody on earth knew the real Ernie but me. And guys, like I said, he drank a lot and he would do drugs and things, but it was not because he was a bad person trying to do bad things. It was because he was hurting inside. You know, he grew up with his family telling him he's stupid, he can never do anything good, you know, he will never succeed, and that hurt him a lot, guys. So he had no self-esteem, and you know, he was trying to kill himself with the alcohol and the drugs because he hated himself on the inside. You know, I think he hated that he was an alcoholic, but because he hated himself, he kept on drinking. You know, and guys, you know, I don't like to be around people who do drugs and drink, but I knew the real Ernie, so I couldn't abandon him just because he was having problems and stuff, you know. So I would rather be around people who are trying to get better. But there was something about Ernie, we just had a bond, and you know, I couldn't stop hanging out with him just because he had problems, you know. Part of me said, you shouldn't hang out with this guy because, you know, he's a bad influence because of the things he does. But then part of me was like, that's your brother, you can't just abandon him because he's going through hard times. So Ernie was a soul, a tortured soul, you know. He had a lot going on inside. But I remember he texted me one time, and he basically told me that he appreciated me being there for him. And you know, he said, like, everybody needs somebody, you know, that friend who you could just be yourself with and who you know is there for you. He texted me that, and he said, you know, you're that person for me. So yeah, guys, it's been weird without Ernie, you know, because ever since Ernie died, I haven't really had a best friend. I like I mentioned earlier, I have a couple of good friends still, but we don't see each other that often. So, you know, ever since Ernie was gone, I haven't had that person who I talk to, you know, several times a week, who we just go to lunch and, you know, talk about what's going on, our issues, our problems. So it's been strange without Ernie, losing that person. But anyway, those were the friendships of my life, guys. Now I would say I have two friends. Mainly two, you know, friends who I enjoy hanging out with and passing time with. My buddy Carl, he lives in Chicago, and we don't see each other all the time, guys. Maybe once a month, every other month. But when we do get together, it's really cool. I really enjoy hanging out with him. And I have another buddy named Carlos. Probably about the same, guys. You know, once a month, every other month, we'll meet up, get some food, hang out. Actually, next Monday, Carlos and I are gonna meet up and get some lunch, so that's nice. But yeah, guys, you know, I hope one day I'll find another friend who I can confide in and, you know, have that close relationship with, because I think it's important to have friendships like that, and I haven't had one in quite some time. And you know, I just hope that it's somebody who I can learn from, who I could teach, who we could both, you know, get better together, because in this point in my life, I need people that elevate me, you know, that push my life further in a direction of either, you know, happiness, spiritual growth, success, something. I want to be around people who make me a better person, and you know, maybe I could teach that person some important lessons too. So all right, guys, friendship, you got to have somebody to share the good times with and the bad. And that's why we have friends. Someone who will be there for you. Someone who will come and help you move your things. Someone who you could talk to when you're hurting inside. Someone who will just get a meal with you, laugh, have a good time. That's a friend. Okay, mis amigos queridos, muchísimas gracias por ver. Nos vemos pronto.